Good evening, Dr. Livingston's class. We are here today with Lynn Holland, LPC, and we're gonna interview her. She was gracious enough to take time out of her day for us.
Today we will be discussing depression in childhood. Have you noticed a genetic link between depression in children and their parents?
There is a genetic link between children and the parents. Environment has a lot to do with it too, but if a parent is depressed, usually sometimes you'll find the children are also depressed, so it is genetic.
What type of home environment do children with depression typically live in?
All types of environment. It's not just economically depressed children. It's also in your more elite what's the word I want to use? The more elite. It's in all areas. It doesn't define in just low economic or high economic. It's in all areas, because it's more on parenting children's relationships and sometimes environment, depending on there's been a trauma or if there's, if it's genetically inclined, but it does have some impact. But mostly parental parenting has a lot to do with it. Whether they're distant, whether they're critical, if there's been trauma. So it goes all over the economic, socioeconomic levels. It's not just one.
What are the symptoms that you look for when you're evaluating a child for depression?
Well, it depends on the age. Like I said, you have 3, 4 age categories. If they're young and they're, most of the time you have parental report. You have to get your report from your parents to find out, just what's going on with the child. Once you get that report, then you look for, do they have flat affect? Do they enjoy playing with their toys? Do they, are they irritable? Are they having separation anxiety if they're little, a little bitty? When they get to be about 3 to 5, from 0 to 6, doctors aren't going to put them on any meds. So that's just the reality of it all. And then we work with the CBT, parenting, whatever's going on with the child. But the answer to that question is it depends on the age group and what symptoms I need to look for. If they're 3 to 5, I look for, toilet training, developmental delays, irritability, not doing well in kindergarten, younger than that, hard to handle, with behavior. When they get to be 6 to 8, they're a little more expressive, and you can talk to them. So you can talk to mom and get the feel for mom, and then you talk with the children and see 6 to 8, they're pretty good about, they're not going to say, oh, I'm depressed, because they don't know what that is. But I do look again to see how they're doing in school. Are they irritable? Are they having any fun with fun activities? Is there some sadness with them? Has anything happened in the family that I need to know about? Divorce or death of a parent? Those are issues that children have a really difficult time with. Also, if there's any other trauma like national disasters, came from Katrina, so I know all about that. Children usually will adjust according to how the parent's adjusting. And if the parent's adjusting well to a natural disaster, the child will do a whole lot better. But if everybody's, all depressed and crying and hysterical, which I can understand after the disaster in New Orleans, you're going to see the child act out like that also. And so just, working with the parent and getting them back on track. And then working with a child when they're 9 to 12, how are they doing in school? Are they irritable? Are they kind of same kind of things? Are they doing well in school? Are they socializing with others? Do they have a lot of friends, or do they have just a few friends? A report from the teacher, if I can get one. Also parental report. Also the child usually can tell me what's going on at that age. So, you know, I can get information from the child and what they're, you know, what they feel like they're handling or not handling.
You mentioned that you had worked with a Dr. Jody, I believe. What suggestions would you have for us as counseling students? How can we build a network of providers so that when we're out in the real world, that we can count on those folks for referrals?
Yeah, I've just moved up here in the last year, so May it'll be a full year, and didn't decide I wanted to go back into private practice till about February. So trying to get the word out there that I'm here in New Orleans, in Shreveport, because I don't know any therapists here. I've worked with Dr. Jody, Dr. Law, Dr. Broussard, so I have those 3 psychiatrists I've worked with here. Developing the social media, you have to get into the Facebook. I'm in Psychology Today, therapist directory. A website, if you have them, learning how to do all this, because they don't have the old-fashioned. I am doing some old-fashioned marketing. I have someone who's going out and actually marketing pediatricians right now as we speak. But to get on all the provider lists that you can get on, and I will give you this little hint. If you move to an area where there's not 15,000 therapists, because they're looking for the ability, looking for accessibility, they like to get therapists within 3 to 5 mile radius. So, and they want underserved areas of town. So if your office is in an underserved area of town, you're more likely going to get on panels, okay? The panel process is either through the internet, which is a lot of that now, still an application process. I'm trying to get on TRICARE. That's a 6-month process. Most of them are 3 to 6 months. They have a new way of getting on some of the insurance companies called CAQH. You have to have a CAQH number. So what you have to do is write an insurance company and say, I'd like to have a CAQH and would like to be a provider for your company. So you have to do that, because until you get a CAQH number, you're not going to get on any panels. You have to have your MPI number. So you guys know what that is, right? National Provider Indicator or something like that. So that's an application process. That's easy. It's just filling out the information on the internet. So those kind of things. Insurance, as soon as you get your license, I would start applying right away. Here you have to have a license unless you want to work under somebody for a little while, and then and once you get your license, you need to get on the internet and start. But social media, everything I'm reading now is websites, manifestos, Facebook, Psychology Today, all those different ways that I'm learning how to do.
Miss Lynn, I look forward to working with children, because I kind of feel like if you work with them when they're young, then maybe you can kind of start to tackle the issues before they become an adult and they're set in their ways. Would you agree that that's correct?
The earlier, the better. What they're finding in the research is that if they're having a lot of depression, 50% will move into full depression, even if it's dysthymia. And dysthymia is a milder form of depression. So the earlier, the better. And the self-esteem issue, and get them to really working with mom and dad, brothers and sisters. That's very important.
Okay. Kind of switching gears, I know Miss Janie was asking you about how you get your practice started. Mm-hmm. My question is, how do you do your billing?
Well, you do your billing according to whatever the insurance company says.
Do you send out bills, or do you?
I'm lazy, and I hired someone.
Okay.
Most of my friends who are therapists in New Orleans, and that's, you know, all my friends are therapists in New Orleans, we all hire someone to do the billing because we just don't want to do it.
Okay.
You have to dot your I's, cross your T's if anything is out of line. So if you have someone who can give you like, I think the going rate in New Orleans is 10%. It's a little lower here, I think. 10% of whatever's collected they get, and then you get the rest. But it just depends on how you want to do that. If you want to learn how to do it yourself, then you get to know the person at the insurance company and making sure that you get it right, because they will send it back. And that's the reason it's wise to have a part-time job too, because your payments don't come in as quickly as you need to pay your bills. It's been my experience. So having a part-time job keeps those bills paid while you're waiting on, you know, you get the co-payment from them, and I like to do it at the beginning of the session. And in New Orleans, my whole practice was private pay. I didn't have a lot of insurance. I did do some insurance, but most of mine was private pay. I was connected with Jefferson Parish, Orleans Parish, Plaquemines Parish, St. Charles Parish DA's programs and the diversion program. So I got to know them, and so I got a lot of clients from them. That was just cash only. Up here, I think that's going to be a little different, and I'm going to have to rely a little more on insurance and needing a part-time job, PRN somewhere, you know. As you know about PRN.
Right, yes.
Well, Dr. Livingston, this has been a very unique experience, and I've enjoyed it, and I praise your students for coming up with this idea, and I think they're going to be wonderful therapists, and you guys work really hard at it, and you keep doing what you're doing. Some of you are just about to finish, so yay. And so I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you for that opportunity. Thank you.